appreciate our next speaker, Joe Batista, joining us. It is 4:30 in the morning back home. And Joe is kind enough to be part of this program. He's a phenomenal guy. He's a phenomenal speaker. He built a program. He raised $114 million basically by himself with the help of the owners of the Buffalo Sabres, who happen to be alumni, graduates of Penn State University, a major university back home. He raised $114 million to build a state-of-the-art building, which I'm sure he will show here, and to build both the men's program and the women's program. They were not going to build one without the other. They had to build both. And then he also was able to endow those programs, which means in our country that the programs will never cost the university or the organization any money. So he got a donation to build a building, build a men's program, build a women's program equal, 100% equal, and then endow them forever. Joe went on to become the vice president of the Buffalo Sabres. When he retired there, he became an author and a speaker, motivational speaker. He wrote a book, Pragmatic Passion, basically taking all these good ideas and finding ways to make them happen. Ideas are important, making them happen is most. So Joe, thank you so much for being here. They must be hearing, everyone here must be hearing the introduction. Either that or they really enjoyed Viesta's talk, because people are joining left and right now. We have 16 leaders of hockey here in Latvia and a wonderful group of young ladies behind us. So Joe, I'll let you take over. Thank you so much for joining us at this crazy hour back home.
That's okay. Thank you. Good morning, everybody. It's an exciting time in sports, especially for women's sports. If you bear with me for a second, Toby, are you, let's see, whoop, I guess I got to share my screen first. So hang on. Let's do that. And okay, are you seeing my screen?
Looks great, Joe. Hear you perfectly.
Okay. All right, then let's get started. We'll keep you moving along here. Again, Joe Batista. I'm in the little town of State College, Pennsylvania, which is in the middle, the center of Pennsylvania over the United States. We say that it's equally inaccessible from all points. That's not an easy town to get into. We got a small airport, but during American football Saturdays, we become the third largest city in the state of Pennsylvania because 110,000 people come to watch our football team play. So with that, I'll get started with my presentation. You know, I just want to ask a question. Why would you take advice from this group of guys here? This was a charity hockey game that we played in Johnstown War Memorial when Toby was the coach and general manager, and Matt Bertani was assistant coach. And there's some other people in that picture. The guy that's right in the center, that's Craig Patrick, who was the coach of the 1980 U.S. Olympic team. He was the assistant coach, went on to be the general manager of the Pittsburgh Penguins when they won their first two Stanley Cups. His son and his nephew were in that picture. So as you all know, the great part of our game are the friendships, the memories that we create. We love our game. We're passionate about it. Let's have some fun. Okay. So there's one takeaway from today, and that's, we want you to grow your women's hockey opportunities in your country. There's never been a better time to do it than now. We think that people's attitudes, the culture of sport has changed. Here in the United States, they're talking about youth sports growing from a $16 billion a year industry to a $70 billion industry in the next 10 years. So obviously some great things are happening along those lines, and the opportunities for women in sport, the interest, the studies that have been done all show that that's where the greatest area of growth is going to come from over the next 10 years. So, our goal is to grow women's hockey. And this is an article in a national paper here in the United States that talks about the growth of women's hockey. Obviously, you can see by that picture our women's Olympic team has become very popular. And this is a picture taken from a girls' camp in Raleigh, North Carolina, which is not known for its hockey. It's where the Hurricanes in the NHL, the Carolina Hurricanes, are located. And you can see the number of girls that are playing and the commitment that you're getting from NHL teams to support the growth of women's hockey. And if you look at these statistics, now they're a couple of years old, but you can see that percentage-wise, the number of new young girls at the U10 level, percentage-wise, is growing faster than the number of boys. So this is a great growth opportunity and area. And our goal is for you to embrace this, to think a little bit creatively outside the box, as we like to say, and think about new ways to attract young women to our great game. And we're hoping that you'll become champions of that and see that the future for growing women's hockey is very bright. So these are two other studies that were done. One is by Deloitte, which is a global consulting firm based here in the United States, and it talks about the monetization of women's sports. And the article on the right about global interest in women's sports on the rise is from Nielsen, which is a ratings that they do the ratings for cable and streaming TV services. And again, all of the indications are that the growth is just going to continue to explode. And, the surveys that they did showed that 84% of people who follow sport are interested in women's sports. Okay. So the culture, we're going through a paradigm shift. And that's why I say now is the time. Now is the time to invest in this. Now is the time to put marketing and promotional dollars behind it because it is such a growth area. Toby mentioned Title IX, which is a federal law. It's a government law that was put into place 45 years ago that talks about giving opportunities to women's sports across our country. And it has been instrumental in the growth of sport, all across the country and indeed the world. And I think right now, Toby mentioned that when here at Penn State, it was when we were going to add men's ice hockey, it was made very clear that was not going to happen unless we brought the women's program with us. And our women's program had flourished as a club program right alongside our men's program. They were going to their national tournament like we were. And so it's great to see the progress that they've made. That didn't happen easily. Okay. And as I think most of you know, here in the United States, hockey, football, American football and basketball and baseball have always been higher, even than soccer in our country, your football. But now we're starting to see all of that change. So it's exciting. It's a great opportunity. And this is from our camp that we do in Sun Valley, Idaho, every summer. That this is a young lady, Evie Johnson, and she grew up in the town which is not known for its hockey. Okay. And she went from this local player to being a counselor and an attendee at our hockey camp to playing NCAA college hockey in the United States to now becoming one of our coaches. Okay. And there you can see her working with some of the young ladies at our camp in Idaho. So it's changing as you know, it's organic, and great things are happening because of it. You know, I presented some of this to the coaches on Tuesday, and I just, to me, it's important that all of you remember that you're all one big family. Okay, we're not, when we talk about hockey, we're not talking about men's hockey. We're talking about hockey in your country, growing overall interest in the sport, so that you can attract investment, businesses, your government. Everybody's going to get on board. It is the most popular sport, as you know, in your country. And why not make it even better? As I like to say, you're already awesome at it. You're already great at it. But let's take it to a whole nother level now, because we can. Okay. So I've got a couple points of emphasis. You got to bring your passion with you to this. All right. Whether it's the young ladies that are there in the audience, it's the coaches, the administrators, the government officials, the club owners. You have this passion in you for sport, for the sport of hockey, and for growing the interest among the young ladies in your country. It's up to you. You must be intentional and deliberate. I'll say it again, intentional and deliberate for this to work. Okay, you have a great opportunity here, so the challenge is up to you. This gentleman, George Bodenheimer, was the past chair of ESPN, our big sports broadcasting network here. I'm sure most of you have heard of it. He was also the chair of Disney, the Walt Disney Company's media. He said this at a conference here at Penn State: passion is the difference maker. People with passion will go above and beyond. They do what has to be done to be successful. Okay. So that's what we need. We need that passion coming out of you. Okay. I wrote a book about it called The Power of Pragmatic Passion. It's to dream big, keep it real, have a plan, and then get it done. All right. So we'll talk a little bit more about that as we go along. Second point is that to begin with the end in mind, make sure you understand what it is you're trying to accomplish and kind of work your way backward from that, and put that in writing. Okay. So that there's no ambiguity, that everybody is on the same page, that there's clarity in what we're trying to do. And hopefully that's going to be that we are making this a priority in the country. Okay. You have a tradition, a history that goes way, way, way back. You've had success, and there's no reason why it can't even get better as we go forward. Okay. You need to be courageous. You need to understand that you're going to get pushback, right? That people may not like to hear some of the things that you're going to say, and you're going to run into people who are going to give you, that's never going to work. We're not interested. Don't become combative with them. You want to make sure that you're working with people and coming at it from a positive perspective as you try to grow the game. Okay. One thing that I try to get everybody to understand that I talk to is the one constant in the world is change, right? So if nothing changes by the way you're doing things and approaching things, then nothing changes. There's a saying by Albert Einstein about futility is when you do the same thing over and over again and expect different results. Okay. You have to approach this. I know Arthur Zerbe, Archie mentioned in a call that we had that, we just have to change our mindset. We have to reframe the way we look at things. Okay. And I know Jaunas and a lot of the other people there that are trying to grow the game and the interest, they have the passion, they have the energy. They know that the time is now to make this happen. Okay. So stay poised, keep calm, and embrace this change. Embrace the opportunity that you have right now to grow the games. We have a saying here at Penn State Hockey that champions find a way. And in 1999, 2000, a team that I was coaching, that was a motto that we had, was that we needed to expect more from each other. So again, as Toby mentioned, this isn't about men's or women's. This is us all working together to get to that mountaintop, to achieve the goal that we've set. And to have that happen, you got to expect more from each other. You've got to demand even more from yourself. Okay. Even when things get tough, you got to stay the course if you want this to happen. Okay. I don't know how many of you watched the Summer Olympics, but the Japanese women's basketball team, okay, who has never had a lot of success in the Olympics, they lost in the gold medal game to the United States. They were coached by a former Penn State basketball player, okay, who went over there and helped them. And the biggest part of that was a change in their mindset, that they could compete, on the biggest stage. All right. So again, you have to expect more and then demand more from yourselves to give the effort. And that goes for you young ladies too. When you're out on the ice, giving it your all, okay, for the sake of the country, okay, and have fun. Don't ever forget that. We got to have fun. So I want to tell you a quick story. We had a team that had 13 new players on it, out of the 25 on the team. We had graduated 13, and we had some guys that weren't even thinking about coming back to play because they didn't want their senior season to be a bummer, because we had so many young guys on the team. Well, that team ended up going on to win a national championship, a surprise national championship. And so much of it just had to do with them believing in themselves, okay, and coming together, and the leadership that we had, okay. We won 3 straight games where we had to pull the goalie in the final minute to tie the game and then win in overtime. 3 in a row, just like I planned it, right? No, it was amazing. It was just a great thing. That group of freshmen, those first-year players, they went on to win 4 national championships in a row. And all of that had to do with culture. It had to do with mindset. It had to do with us believing in each other and that we could achieve these goals, okay? And then executing them, getting it done. Okay, so I want to talk about, how do you find your way? Your goal, if you choose to accept it, is to grow in the sport of hockey, and in this particular case, women's hockey. First of all, you got to make a commitment. All right, you've got to decide, we're going to do this and we're going to go all in. We're putting our full energy and focus on making this happen. And then we're going to develop options to make that happen. You know, we're going to get together with the right people. We're going to find the champions who want to see this occur, whether, again, it's the people funding, marketing, promoting, et cetera. And then we're going to make informed choices, because you're going to lean on people like Toby and Matt, okay, and Janine Weber, myself. You don't have to build the wheel all over again. Come to us. We will help. There's people out there that can help. You got to check your ego in at the door and ask questions, okay? You must be creative. You must have a vision, and it must be in writing. And it must be something that is aspirational and inspirational to everybody involved, okay? So that we have that synergistic effect, okay, of everybody working together. We've got to keep networking and building relationships internally within the country, and then outside globally with the hockey world, okay, and with the women's sports world. There's a lot to be learned from other people, okay? Doesn't matter what you're in. You know, we say it's not about the money, but ultimately it usually comes back to being about the money. Okay. So somebody, probably a few of you, are going to have to focus in on how are we going to generate the funding that we need, whether it's sponsorships, whether it's money from the government, et cetera. That has to be a part of the plan, okay, to help get this done. You've got to create a media campaign. If people don't know what you're trying to do, they're going to lose interest, especially social media. Okay. You have to take advantage of the successes that you're having, the growth that you're having, and tell your story. You've got to answer the question, why this? Why now? Say it again. Answer the question, why this? Why now? Okay. So, and then you must passionately and intentionally promote the game every chance you get. All right. That's up to you to do that. You're carrying the banner of the sport. All right. And so everywhere you go, you must talk. Don't be combative. Be positive. Project success, that this is going to get done, right? That you're going to achieve this. And you got to believe it in your heart. You got to have that intense, burning desire, just like when you were an athlete and you were out on the ice yourselves, maybe. It comes down to a belief in your heart that you're going to get this done. Okay. So a couple other stories. Back in 1982, I worked for the Pittsburgh Penguins. I was a 22-year-old right out of university. There were only 8 rinks in all of Western Pennsylvania, including the one where Toby and Matt coached in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. And we were trying, the goal was to grow the sport, grow interest in the game of hockey, because the Penguins, our NHL team, who everybody knows now is, they've won 5 Stanley Cups. Back then, we were awful. We were one of the worst teams, if not the worst team in the NHL year after year. Okay. But we had to start somewhere. We had to start changing people's mindset about the way they felt. So the Penguins made this commitment, hired me as a director of amateur hockey development, and we started putting on programs and started bringing in some of the big names in the United States and Canada at that time. Eddie Johnson, who's on the left, was the general manager and coach of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Next to him is Bob Johnson, who at that time was the head coach of the Calgary Flames. He had won some NCAA college championships at the University of Wisconsin, and he ended up leading eventually the Penguins to their first Stanley Cup. That's me in the middle. I wasn't on skates. That's why everybody looks taller than me. I'm not really that small of a guy. But the gentleman beside me is Lou Vero, who coached the 1984 U.S. Olympic team. And then beside him is Paul Gardner, who was the captain of the Penguins. So again, we generated a lot of interest, a lot of publicity, and this program started to grow and grow and grow. And now there were only 5 teams in the NHL back then that even had these positions. Now every team has entire departments that are focused on growing the interest in the game of hockey. Okay? And we started the Junior Penguins, the Amateur Penguin Organization, back in 1983. And I ended up being the coach of that team. That organization still exists to this day. Okay. It took a lot of time, took a lot of energy. It took convincing a lot of people that we were for real. It did not happen overnight. So you have to have some perseverance and patience. You have to be persistent, okay, without being obnoxious, right, and abrasive. You've got to build alliances in order to get this to happen, okay? So another person that we had come speak in Pittsburgh was our Olympic coach, Herb Brooks, who ended up at one point, actually 2 different occasions, working for the Pittsburgh Penguins, both as a coach and as a scout, okay? And here's a guy who had just come off winning the Olympics in the Miracle on Ice game in 1980. It would have been easy for him to thumb his nose at us and say, I don't have time for you. Coach Brooks understood the importance, as do a lot of your players in your country, athletes on your national team, Olympic teams that played in the NHL and minor pro hockey around the world. Get them to come back, get them to promote the game, get them fired up about the women's game in particular. Okay. I think some big things are going to happen. So fast forward to 2021. Remember, there were 8 rinks in all of Western Pennsylvania where I grew up. Today, there are 50 sheets of ice in Western Pennsylvania. Okay, that's just one small area of our country. Okay, and the Penguins have made a tremendous investment in this. Matter of fact, they're hosting the USA Hockey Girls National Championships next spring. Okay, this is another facility that belongs to Robert Morris University. It's got 4 sheets of ice in one building. All right, that didn't exist 25 years ago. So it's taken some time, but you're going to get there. Okay. You will get there. All right. I told you before that the Amateur Penguin organization that we started 40 years ago, it's now called the Pittsburgh Penguins Elite, but it's still there. That's one of my former players, Mike Messner, played hockey for me at Penn State, played on the Junior Penguins back in his youth days. That's his daughter, who is now a player for the Penguins Elite program. Okay, which again, that didn't exist 40 years ago. This is another former Penn State player, Jason Zivkovic, and his daughter, who plays for a younger team in the Pens Elite. The growth, the interest, look at the smiles on their faces. That says it all right there. Okay, how much this means. Remember, you're difference makers, okay? And you're going to make a difference. These are 2 of my former players and their daughters who are wearing the same numbers that their fathers wore when they played at Penn State. And the 2 young ladies ended up playing against each other at our Penn State arena. We have a 2-sheet facility now at Penn State. And this was just a magical moment for all of us. You can again see the smiles and the pride on everybody's faces. Okay. Another organization that we worked to start was the American Collegiate Hockey Associations. In the United States, we have college-sponsored hockey, and then we have club programs as well. And these club programs are actually at colleges, but they don't receive the kind of money that the varsity school-sponsored teams get. So we collectively decided we needed to start an organization, which we did 30 years ago, to try to bring everybody together and grow the sport. Okay. And at Penn State, we actually hosted the very first official national club championship. Okay. What's interesting is when you go back to those humble beginnings, there were 37 men's teams in the organization, 2 divisions, and there were about 800 players. Okay. That was in 1991. If you fast forward to today, we're celebrating the 30th anniversary, and you see the numbers are now 505 teams. There's now 3 men's divisions. More importantly, there's now 2 women's divisions. Okay. So and that's where the biggest growth has taken place. And there are over 12,000 players that are a part of this organization. Okay. I've been one of these people. I think Toby and Matt will tell you I'm a bit of a feather ruffler, as we say. I like to visualize things that aren't and make them happen. Okay. And to me, there's an excitement in that. You are poised right now to see this kind of growth if you'll make the commitment. Okay. So let me tell you a little bit about our hockey program at Penn State and how we got it to this point where it is now. As I said, my mantra is dream big, keep it real, and then execute, go get it done. Okay, that's our building. It's a 6,300 seat main arena with an attached practice facility for youth hockey, adult hockey, and intramural hockey for the college kids, etc. Okay, so this is one of my favorite sayings: you see things as they are and ask why. I dream of things as they never were and ask why not. That you're at that moment. This is that moment, that watershed moment where you have the opportunity to do something awesome and amazing. Okay, this was Penn State's very first ever hockey game, and it took place in Pittsburgh against Carnegie Tech, which is now called Carnegie Mellon, one of the best academic universities in the world. And everybody just believed back then that the hockey program was going to take off. Well, it didn't have the support. It didn't have the support in the administration, at the state government level. It didn't have the support of sponsors, et cetera. And it just never took off the way everybody thought it would. And hockey kind of disappeared. And then it came back in the 1940s. And we actually had a team for about 6 years. And again, the opportunity presented itself to really make an investment in it. And the university chose not to, right? It disappeared again. All right. Well, it came back in 1971. And then lo and behold, I showed up on campus with that hairdo. Yeah, that's me on the left. Back in 1978, right, we were playing on an outdoor rink. We didn't even have a roof over it. It didn't matter. We still had fun. That group of guys still was very close to one another. But we had this dream of getting a new facility and building hockey at Penn State. We got a new rink. Unfortunately, we ran out of the funding and we only put 1,100 seats in it. The gentleman, number 16 there in the blue, the dark uniform, Jamie Hedema, is actually here in town for a reunion. I just saw him yesterday. This is pretty amazing. He lives in California, which is on the other side of the United States. But it's amazing the passion, again, that they have for this. And so I became the coach at Penn State. I was a pretty animated guy. You can see I have a little bit of passion, and we had a lot of success. We won a lot of the club championships, but it wasn't just the winning of the championships that mattered. It was us being involved in the community, us being involved in the university with the folks there on campus, and just getting people to be fired up about the game of hockey. Okay, our women's program started in 1996. Okay, there were 12 girls that said they wanted to start a hockey program. And we had a gentleman named Vinny Scalamonia who played for me on the Junior Penguins back in 1982 in Pittsburgh. And Vinny took it upon himself to help build that program. And the women's team flourished. Okay, that was our old rink. But the program just grew and grew and grew. And, that was, a very important moment in the history of the hockey programs at Penn State. So this was our team purpose: to develop productive citizens who are champions on and off the ice and have an attitude of gratitude. That's what we were trying to do with our hockey teams, men's and women's, at Penn State. Our culture, if you look at this, it was not just the players, not just the coaches, but the parents, the boosters, the sponsors, volunteers, the alumni, everybody coming together and supporting a program that put family first, academics second, and hockey third. And we had a lot of fun, okay, getting together, enjoying each other's company. We always celebrated our national championships with the people that were behind the scenes, in order to keep growing the interest in hockey. We would get standing room only crowds. We ended up with radio and television coverage that we took advantage. Despite all that, every time we went to the Penn State University administration trying to get a brand new rink built and the hockey programs more funding, we would get these kinds of answers. Oh, there's just not enough interest. We have to spend the money on a new rink. We don't have enough private support. No, because. All right. Well, again, you have to persevere. Okay. Perseverance matters because it's sometimes your hardest times in life that lead to your greatest moments. You know, sometimes you feel like, you know, if we're trying to grow women's hockey, it feels like you're trying to pull a boulder up a mountain, right? Well, you just keep going because eventually you're going to get there, right? Passion, resilience, perseverance. Remember, they always gave us the no because. Well, we learned that we're going to turn this no because into a yes if. That might be trying to get funding for additional locker rooms, new lighting, an additional sheet of ice, to get funding to buy equipment so more young people can try the game. Whatever it is, no equals not yet. All right. And it starts off with building the right relationships. That's Terry Pegula, who gave us the most money, the biggest donation in the history of Penn State University for scholarships and the library and everything else. The biggest gift ever given to Penn State was for us to build the new hockey arena and endow our women's and men's hockey teams. Okay. We spent a lot of time getting to know Terry and having him meet with additional folks. The two gentlemen that he's there with both ended up giving significant donations to help us build the community rink. Okay. And so this took time, but after about a 5-year courtship, the big moment happened, and the initial gift that Terry and his wife, Kim, again, they're the owners of the Buffalo Sabres in the NHL and the Buffalo Bills in the NFL. You know, these are the people that help us, our dream to come true. And they gave us additional money. We had the courage to go back to them and ask them for more. And we were able to convince them to do it because we had a shared passion for hockey, a shared vision for what we wanted the hockey program to look like. And it was that energy and that passion that allowed us to keep building to get to where we are today. And, you know, this is what they told us to do: build the best college hockey arena in the country, create a great fan experience, have amenities that are going to attract the top players, provide a great facility for the entire community. Oh, and by the way, build it on time and on budget, which we got done, by the way. Okay. Notice, this may be a little boring to you, but the reality is we had it in writing. We had this shared vision, and that's why it got done, and it got done on time. Okay. So men's and women's hockey, that's the cover of our alumni magazine. And what's pretty cool is the young lady that's in the picture there, that's Jill Holcroft. Her father and I still to this day play hockey together. They have a hockey rink in their backyard in the winters. And the first women's coach, Josh Brandwein, actually played for me at Penn State. Okay. So it's just amazing, those connections. And that was when we christened the new ice rink. It was an amazing moment. And then that's the opening night. It's just, like I said, a 6,300 seat facility, has all the great amenities that many professional teams have. And it was because we got the funding. Okay. And it was an amazing night. That's our student section. They're affectionately known as the Roar Zone. And Mr. Pegula said to us, I want it to be so loud in that building that it's going to sound like a little kid banging on the inside of a tin drum. And it's an electric atmosphere. This was the first alumni weekend for the men's team. And, you know, all these people came back, a lot of smiles, a lot of tears of happiness when this all came to fruition. The building won all kind of awards. And the men's team went on to be ranked #1 in the United States for a period of time. They've won 2 tournament championships. They've won several games in the NCAA tournament. The women's team won their first ever championship, league championship. And ironically, you're going to hear this in a minute, RIT is Rochester Institute of Technology. That's who they beat to win their first ever championship. And, I'm going to tell you a little more about that in a minute, but passion and perseverance matter. This is not going to be a short sprint. This is going to most likely be a marathon, because we don't want this to be a one and done where we get a facility upgraded or built, one program that flourishes. We want many, and we want them to be sustainable. Okay. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about Celeste Brown, who I'm sure at some point Toby has, discussed. She is originally from Great Falls, Montana, which is over in the Rocky Mountains, pretty close to Canada. Actually, they're not known for their hockey, and certainly not known for their women's hockey. But Celeste, because of her passion for the game, she grew up playing against the boys. Okay. And to this day, she still continues to play hockey in intramurals, and still has a ball. I've had the fortune of being able to teach hockey with her at our Sun Valley hockey camp for the past 4 years. But she is a leader. She was the captain of her team, and she made great things happen when she was at Rochester, which is about an hour and a half east of Buffalo, New York, in the state of New York. And, that's a great school. She became a very successful player. Matter of fact, she helped them win a national championship there. Okay. And that's Celeste right there when she was a player. All right. So her career ends, but only at the collegiate level, because Celeste ends up playing in the National Women's Professional Hockey League. Okay. And she was in at the ground floor when this was all getting started. All right. Which is very exciting. And it's going to continue to grow. All right. There's going to be more and more opportunities for women to play professionally in the future. All right. She then, when she was done playing, became an assistant coach, ironically, here at Penn State. Okay. That's her behind the bench during one of the games. Very successful as an assistant coach. So successful that she became the youngest Division I head coach in college hockey back at her alma mater, Rochester Institute of Technology. Okay. That's pretty amazing. Right. And, her first year was pretty rough. They didn't win very many games. Okay. But it's a place to start, and I know they're going to be very successful because she loves the game. I've watched her teach young girls at our Sun Valley hockey camp. It's amazing the influence that she's had and the joy that she has brought to a lot of these young ladies who are now continuing to play hockey. Pragmatic passion means to dream big. It means to keep it real, have a plan, and it means to go get it done. All right. So you have that feeling of success. And basically what power is, it's the ability to act. Pragmatic is being realistic and practical. Passion is that intense desire and enthusiasm we were talking about. And so basically it is acting with your head and your heart. We all love the game of hockey. All right. And that passion alone is not enough. It's necessary. We need it, but in and of itself, the passion isn't going to get it done. All right. We need to have a plan. We need to go to the right people. We have to have the right people championing the cause. We have to have leaders in education and in the government and in the hockey world there that put this as a priority and make the commitment to it. That's how it's going to get done. Okay. These are 7 common sense principles that I talk about. They spell out the word passion. And if you look at the top, that's the most important one. What is the purpose? What are we trying to do? Right? Attitude is right beneath it. It's important. What sacrifices are you going to make? Who's going to provide the leadership? Who's going to inspire us? Who's going to develop the right options so that we make the right choices? And the nurture is that you never stop learning. Okay. So that purpose, what matters most? Well, it's to grow the women's game. Okay. Well, why should we? Why should young girls play hockey? Okay. Because it's fun, because it's a great sport. You get exercise, you develop life skills, you make friends, and it's a sport that you can play forever. Those of you that play it, you know it. You know what it feels like to be on the ice in that rush of cold air up and down the rink, to be in the battles in the corner and in front of the net. We need to sell that to the kids in the country, okay? And we need to find the people that are willing to help us provide that by sponsoring and assuring that we get the funding the needed to grow the game, okay? Hockey is for life, all right? You can see the smiles, you know, in the upper left, that's one of the girls in the National Women's Hockey League, who's working with one of the little young ladies there over here. And that's up in Connecticut. Over here is a little penguin player. Down here is a Hershey bear out of Chocolate World in Hershey, Pennsylvania. And then over here, these are girls that, you know, they're done playing for their college teams and their club teams. They're playing recreational hockey. Again, it's a sport for life, right? So yesterday's thinking is this. Grace Hopper from the United States, she was a rear admiral, the first rear admiral female in our country's history, said the most dangerous phrase in our language is, "We've always done it this way." You know, and this is the way that too often we think. There you got little mini mites out there playing full ice scrimmage. It's a waste of the ice surface, which is, as we know, very expensive. You know, we've got to go back to this thinking differently. You know, that's currently the way we do it. How about, can we help each other find a better way to do it? And, you know, I think most people are beginning to realize we can put a lot more kids on the ice if we're playing cross ice games with these young kids. Here we call it the American Development Model, the ADM program. And the numbers have grown significantly because the kids have the puck on their stick more often. They're skating all the time. They're not standing in line or sitting on a bench. They're out playing, having fun, getting the joy of being a part of hockey, okay? It's important that you all understand that you've got to get the right people in the right room at the right time, and everybody's got to be respectful, common courtesy, mutual respect of ideas, okay? And you have to be persistent without being overbearing, okay? That's a key point, okay? As servant leaders, you're all about serving others. Why are we doing this? Okay, and in my case, hey, I'm 61 years old. My playing days are just about over, but I want to see other kids, young girls have the opportunity to play the game that I loved. Okay. And it's, to me, it's an obligation for people like us that played the game and enjoyed it to pass that along to the next generation. Okay. So leadership to me in one word is courage. Who has the courage there? Those of you that are on this call, okay, this Zoom meeting, who's going to have the courage to make the tough calls at the moment of truth that are going to see this thing to fruition so that we can achieve the goal of growing the sport and growing facilities and getting more funding and exposing more and more young people to our great game? Who's going to have the courage to do that? Okay. You make a difference. Okay. I love this picture. It's one of my favorite pictures from our Sun Valley experience because that's Celeste Brown, who I introduced you to. That's Janine Weber, okay, from Austria, who played, I think Toby would know, 10, 11 world championships. She was instrumental in being one of the first stars of the women's professional league. Yeah, that's me over there with the goofy smile. But those young ladies. We've watched them grow over the last 4 years. And these two young ladies over here, Annie and Jessie, who grew up in Sun Valley, Idaho, again, not a place known for its hockey. Both of them are now going to play hockey for Coach Brown at Rochester Institute of Technology. What a great story. Okay. And again, look at the smiles. That's what it's all about to me. So with that, I'll conclude my presentation. If anybody ever wants to get a hold of me, the pragmaticpassion.com is my website. My cell phone number is there if you want to text, or if you want to email me, it's joe@pragmaticpassion.com. And yeah, I've cornered the market on dogs that like to read books. That's not even my dog. That's a friend of mine who did that. I just said, hey, I got to steal that picture from you because it's so cute. But at any rate, I'll leave that up for a few minutes, just in case anybody would like to take down my information. You can always talk to Toby or Jaunas. They know how to get in touch with me. I wish you all the best of luck. And with that, I'll stop sharing my screen, and we can talk a little bit about how we collectively are going to grow the game of hockey, especially for the young ladies in the country. Toby?
Joe, thank you so much. And I know there are a couple questions coming in on chat, and we will get to those. The young ladies here have a little bit more time, and I appreciate about half the group is here listening, because this is about them. But I have one young lady here, Linda Roulé, right? She's a 16-year-old. She's a real good player, guys. And she asked if she could talk to the people on this call and just share some thoughts about her life and what she wants to do, and probably how everyone here collectively can help that happen. She found a way on her own to go to Sweden to try out to get more. She didn't have help from anyone else. She found a way. She reached out to people because this is important to her. And she asked if she could say a few words, and well, she's the boss right now. So Linda, thank you for doing this.
Thank you. Hello, yeah, my name is Linda. So first of all, I really love hockey, and that's the most important thing, I think, because I like to train hard, and I will do everything to play in really good league. So my dream, I hope it comes true, is to play in NWHL, and I will do everything to go to that league. But I wanted to tell that it will be good to make more chances like that, like we have now, to Latvia, like come coaches from other countries, because the experience is really good, because they teach other stuff, and you can know what in other countries they do. And also it's good to go to other country and see how there is going and how they are like playing, and that experience, like it means a lot, especially for me. But I think it means to every girl right here, because we all love hockey, and I hope so that they all want to be a really good players.
How can people on this call help you do that? Are more things needed here in Latvia? Do the clubs need to help you be better?
Yeah, it will be good to have more trainings off ice and on ice. But that's good if that I play with boys, so I have to have more trainings. But when with girls, that I wanted to be like trainings more harder, and yeah.
What do you love about hockey?
I love adrenaline, and I love that energy that comes from the game, that is fast, and you have to think fast, and like I really enjoy playing.
Should you have the same opportunities as the boys?
I don't think no, because
should you?
Yeah, really. I hope that someday it will come true, and the girls in Latvia will have the same opportunity that boys have.
Good for you, Linda. Well, Viestas, Yanni, thank you so much. A quick question. What's the relationship with USA Hockey? How do they, and are they not participating with donations, investment in mentioned projects? They invest in the arenas? Not necessarily. They've invested in the growth of the women's game. They've invested in education. They've invested in equal opportunities. They've invested in marketing and promotion. They did this 20 years ago when people like our speaker last night, Sarah DaCosta, who has 2 Olympic medals, a gold and a silver. When she was growing up, she said she told the ladies here, my dream was to play in the Olympics. The problem was there was not an Olympic sport for women. So in 1998, she played in the first one. And then in 2002 in Salt Lake, she got lucky. From there, they helped promote it. They helped endorse it. They helped bring the pieces together. They helped put the guidepost in place. They helped in the hiring of women. They helped in promoting it to clubs, very similar to what the Federation here is trying to do. They have invested in summer development programs for the women. Whatever the boys get, the girls get. If they have a 16 camp, the girls have a 16 camp. If they have an under 18 camp, the girls have an under 18 camp. They have helped in recent years fund the women to train, because in our country, the women don't, even though they are playing in a professional league now, the NWHL, they get compensated similar to a minor league hockey player in the ECHL. So the women at the national level now get compensated so they can train year round. Basically, as the young girls are coming up, they have mandated that the opportunities for one are the same as the other. So that is kind of how their investment, their program has worked to the best of my knowledge. Correct, Joe?
Yeah, I do know that the USA Hockey Foundation, which accepts gifts from private citizens and corporations around the country, the idea of them helping to get rinks built, that they're not able to support them financially as much, but they get the right people in the communities together. They have a blueprint, they have a plan, and that plan tries to get replicated everywhere you go. And again, it's so that people aren't having to reinvent the wheel, that we can share ideas and make the process faster and more streamlined so that we're getting it done. But the biggest thing is, the outreach. They're helping to grow the women's hockey. And I don't know if Toby, if you've mentioned this or not, but Hillary Knight, who's a star on the U.S. women's national team, Olympic team, who we actually got to play staff scrimmage with 2 years ago back in Sun Valley. She was hired by ESPN to be a color commentator for the NHL, not the NWHL, but the NHL. So we've come a long way in regard to the respect that we have for the women playing the game. And I just think, that's going to continue as long as we're intentional and deliberate about doing it.
Any other questions, please? Whether I can unmute everyone, or please just type it in. Viestas, any comments?
No, basically it's really inspiring, and of course, as Joe said, I mean, everything starts with a passion, with idea, with a smile, with putting right people together. And that's the way. That's what we have to do. And of course, yes, money talks, and money is important. But first is ID. First is the people behind that ID, and the passion. And that's what we have to do as well. We have to be more pragmatic, more passionate about the females hockey, girls hockey, and as we do now. I mean, I'm really happy that clubs are participating, that girls are in the room, and coaches are there. That's a good start.
Yeah, and just so people on the call know, like, I don't think any of us have the answers. We just believe in how things should be. And if there's an opportunity for a boy, there needs to be an opportunity for a girl.
Sure.
And I know that's hard sometimes, but these ladies have busted their butts to compete out here this past week. And I commend everybody that's on the line here and on this call. And I commend the leadership for doing it. You know, watching the impact and the opportunities that didn't exist today, and listening to Sarah talk about what she had in the 80s and 90s versus what Janine and Celeste and others have today, it is inspiring. And for all the leaders and managers, let me just wrap up here. For all the leaders and managers, Joe put the slide up. In the United States, in Sweden, in Canada, there are more young ladies joining on a per-season basis than there are young boys right now. So huge opportunity of growth for everyone. Vestis?
Just a quick question. Maybe someone from the clubs, I really would like to ask, someone from the clubs can tell, what is the biggest challenge to have more girls? Practically, I mean, there are club members from different regions. Sigita, Denny, I don't know, Lila, Leonard. Anyone can have some comments? What's the biggest challenge for you? Arturs.
For us right now, hello, I'm Leonard from Liepāja. From us right now is most basically the challenging to get ice time to all our boys as well in Liepāja. And I think it will be really hard for now to get the ice time for our girls as well, or we need to put them together with the boys. And the thing is the population as well. We're not so big city, and I don't know how it's going to work with how much people will attend the girl teams.
Basically, your biggest challenge is lack of ice time.
Yes, that's the biggest thing for us right now.
Okay. Anybody else?
Are there ways to put a greater number of kids on the ice and divide up? And our country faced the same issue, and that's where the ADM model started for the younger kids, especially, let's say, under age 10. So, you know, we may have 50 kids on the ice sometimes, but they are on the ice, and we split it up in 6 areas. So you have 7 or 8 children in each area. So you split the one zone into 2, the neutral ice into 2, and the other zone into 2. And you have a lot of mini practices where you can have impact and connection with a lot of kids instead of the traditional one team on the ice.
Anybody else? Any more comments? Anything else? Lack of ice time?
Yeah, hello, do you hear me? Yeah?
Yes.
From Riga, Vladislav's girls coach. We have 4 ices per week for girls team, yeah, so no lack of ice for us, but we got 20 girls. We're trying to get more Facebook advertisement and so on. So we got 20, we doesn't get more, I think, because of mentality in our country. So girls are not going into hockey. So that's the problem. So every year there are more girls. So we need to work with that through the federation and through the clubs. But we started this job with all those under 18 camps and under 23. So I think it would be more girls in hockey in future in Latvia.
How to change mentality, Latvia?
Hard question, to be honest. Hard question. We need to show good product, so they think the parents understand that their kids will become athletes, good athletes, and it will help them in life, not only in hockey. That they will grow like good personalities and so on. I think we need to show good product, good under 18 team, and it would be motivation for parents to let their girls into hockey. I think through that.
Thank you. Lasma?
Hi, yeah, my name's Lasma. I'm with the Women's Hockey Development Committee, and I'm also a manager of a kids club. So I have both of these experiences. As there was a question about an ice time, and maybe it's a question for the coaches as well. I don't see a problem with young ages to put girls and boys together. That should be the case. I don't know if we have an option to distinguish the girls hockey and boys hockey at U9 or U11 age. Yeah, Hokeja Riga with Vlad is doing that at the moment, but I don't think that's we're not gonna have a separate league in anytime soon in Latvia. So I think there's no difference for the guys and the girls to train together. I think it's more about the information about, I spoke to one mother in the region a couple of weeks ago, and she said that they came to the ice hockey training in the region because there was an announcement they're gathering girls to play ice hockey. And then the coach who trained the boys, well, the junior ice hockey team, they didn't know what to do with the girls. So I think it's about our overall mindset that it's just, we're doing this and we're doing it for the kids, not for the girls or the boys or whatever. We're doing it for the kids, for them to play ice hockey. And that's the thing that we have to work on ourselves, because I think a 2-year older girl is a great addition to a boys team at U9 or U11 level. That's a great addition.
And then what I was saying, and I hope you can see it here, is why can't, that's how we have taken, our ice cost is very expensive in the United States. We have built more rinks, yes, but we will have 6 to 8 kids per station there. So you're dealing with 40 to 50 kids on the ice, multiple clubs working together, even multiple ages working together, even if it's only 1 or 2 nights a week, and then you have your regular team practices. But we have been forced, the same as you, for many, many reasons, to find a way to get more kids on the ice. So we have 3 teams of 15 on the ice, 3 teams of 15, 45 children on the ice, all working and getting lots and lots and lots of reps. We can't be kings of our own kingdom. We have to break down the walls of our castles and find a way to work together for the betterment of all. And again, that's just one dumb guy's opinion. And I'm a dumb guy. So think outside the box.
Any more comments from clubs, please? Okay.
Yeah, and yes, Joe, that is a yes as far as that goes.
Okay. I will tell you that one of the things that we did here in State College is that as part of our youth recreation center, the hockey community went out and did fundraising. As a matter of fact, they did a roast of me. So they made a lot of fun jokes at my expense. And we raised over $100,000 and then got local businesses to donate materials and the labor and we built an inline deck hockey, street hockey facility at the YMCA. It's very visible. So a lot of people who had never tried hockey before were suddenly interested. And we use the roller hockey, inline hockey, and the street hockey to supplement, because of the lack of ice time. It's a place to go and work on stick skills and passing and the concepts of the game. It'll never take the place of the ice, but it certainly can augment it. And it's, I think, again, a step in the right direction. That was another thing that happened in Western Pennsylvania. The Penguins invested heavily in inline hockey rinks as another tool in their toolbox to promote the game of hockey. And I would just like to follow up with the comment about mindset. It is important. It is so easy to just say, well, we can't do this, we can't do that. You gotta have the energy. You have to have the attitude that you're going to get it done. It took us a long time, but you got to start somewhere. Yeah, you've got to start changing people's minds and changing people's hearts. And I think you can do it. You've got a rich tradition there. Take advantage of that.
And it took like in Joe's situation with the program he built, it took almost 30 years to make it happen, and a lot of no's and a lot of tired nights and a lot of why am I doing this? A lot of how am I doing this? But it happened. So I'm an outsider. We unbelievably thank you folks. We unbelievably thank the Federation. So I don't have any preconceived notions, guys. There was nothing in my head, folks. I believe people want this to happen. I believe leadership wants this to happen.
Toby, it's simple. Let's get it done.
Dream big and get it done. Folks, thank you so much. If there's anything we or anybody we know or make connections for anyone, please ask. And thank you so much. We feel like adopted Latvians here this week, and we appreciate all. Be well.
Thank you, Joe.
Stay healthy.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank you all.
Thank you, Joe.
Good luck on Sunday. Go Latvia. Good luck on Sunday.
Enjoy your weekend, Joe. Enjoy your weekend.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone.